Welcome on into 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. And Jackson, it's week 2 for college. It is week 3 for high school football.
But still technically week 3 for both because 0 week's a thing. I don't know why we do that, but, you know.
Because you got those buys. You got to still line it out at the end of the day.
It's overcomplicated.
But let's go over the records so far.
Yeah.
where we at. Let's start with the high school.
Okay.
I got them up in front of me, so I'll read them for you.
Beautiful.
You are 6-1 on
Yes.
your predictions so far. I am 4-3 on mine.
Most notably from this week, kind of the separator, we were both right on Batavia Reading. We were both wrong on Elder Covcath.
Yep.
The Kings Winton Woods game
Was your big pick?
Yes, 16-14. Kings coming out on top. I had that one. You obviously didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I still didn't believe that I got it
that
right.
You had it
Correct.
Right. Yes.
And like we were talking about it whenever we were like editing Final Quarter together last Friday, and even Joe was a little skeptical. He's like, "You called that?" You know, because like, it's just
and you were like, "It's on recording.
It's
we
like,
have audio.
I can play the proof." But yeah, it's just one of those things that, as a testament to how good Winton is, that they fell. So
yes,
interesting to see how their seasons fall out after this. And then on the college side,
you are okay. You're 5-0. You're perfect so far. Congratulations. I am 3-2.
Yeah.
I picked 2 MAC teams to beat a Big Ten and an SEC team, and was proven wrong.
yes.
But I will say I think that those games were a little closer still. One was closer than I expected. One was a bigger blowout than I expected, but we'll kind of talk about that Miami-Wisconsin game a little bit as we look ahead to their next game against Rutgers. But we'll kind of just start it off right here with college.
Yeah,
football.
absolutely. Because we've got another really interesting slate ahead of us this week.
Yeah, and the nice thing that we're going to be doing is that we're always going to be picking 5 games, roughly 5 games, because we're going to talk Louisville, Ohio State, Miami, Cincinnati, Kentucky, make our predictions through the year. So we should end up with 60 total games decided.
Yes.
So that's why we'll have those nice even numbers.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Keeps it it's simple to track, which we've already messed that up on my side.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
we'll be at 10 at the end of this week, but then we do 3s.
And then maybe you'll do 3, and then maybe do 4 one time. I don't know. We'll figure.
Depending on how great the slate is.
But we'll start off real quick mentioning that Louisville is playing James Madison this Friday at 7 p.m. Louisville beat Eastern Kentucky 51-17.
Yeah.
I don't expect much difference from James Madison. Maybe a little smaller score for the Cardinals, but I don't think that James Madison is going to do anything crazy that Louisville is not going to be prepared for.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I like James Madison does interest me more.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it will be a little closer, but yeah, Louisville's just a comfortably very good team this year.
Yes.
And one that I'm ready to see some real comp.
I see them coming out 3-0 out of the first bit of non-conference slate. September 27th, they play Pitt.
Okay.
And so that, I think, is when we'll really actually have a good dig into Louisville at that point.
Where is that at? Louisville or Pittsburgh?
Let me double-check real quick. I want to say it is in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yes, it is in Pittsburgh.
Eli Holstein does concern me. To tip my hand a little bit, if things continue to go the way they go, I might pick Pat Narduzzi's Panthers there. But till that time being, I'm right there with you. I think that they just keep on keeping on till we hit the conference alignment.
Yes, and another game that I don't think we need to debate too heavily is Ohio State is playing Grambling, number 1 in the country, Ohio State. That is Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Actually, all of these games are 3:30 p.m. on Saturday.
Beautiful.
For the rest of the way. So you have some options of how you can spend your afternoon slate. But I did want to talk to you for a second, Jackson, because we saw them beat Texas, the Longhorns, replaced them as number 1 in the country. Do you feel like we learned more about Ohio State or Texas from this game?
Ohio State, pretty comfortably. Because, I'm sure Arch looked real not awesome, in that game. There was some mechanical issues. There was, some processing issues.
He looked like it was his first college start.
Fair, but also,
Which is what it is.
But he had PT. He did come in as a 5-star, and, obviously Bryce Underwood playing whatever, New Mexico, not the same territory, whatever, but he looked like a man possessed half that time. Arch had playing experience, had a year of learning that system under his belt, has a lot of talent around him, and should have looked better than he did.
Sure.
Had accuracy issues. Like, it was a big ordeal. But I still will chalk that up to Ohio State being that good. In Ryan Day's coaching hires, Brian Hartline was a shoo-in for that offensive coordinator job after Chip Kelly left. Wasn't a secret. Matt Patricia being the defensive coordinator was a move that I laughed at on my personal time. Mm-hmm. Not a move I'm laughing at anymore. Matt Patricia looked like he's got it figured out again, even if he has a pencil for a laminated play sheet. He has something going on and has figured out how to utilize Ohio State's natural well of talent that they manage to recruit every year into shutting down what is still an absurdly talented offense. Like Texas's running back, still very good. Arch Manning, even if I didn't like how he looked, still a very talented quarterback. And so the Buckeyes have just, I think that they should have been number one coming into the season. I say that about all the reigning and defendings. I think it's kind of silly when you don't have them up on that. And they proved it. They proved why that's the case.
I will say this, is that while Ohio State showed that they are clearly deserving of being number one right now, mm-hmm. I'm genuinely concerned about later on in the season.
Okay.
And it was one thing that specifically came out of that, which was their explosive play rate, mm-hmm. Was a 3.7%. And I believe that is third lowest in all of FBS.
Okay.
One of the teams underneath it is Miami, who went scoreless against Wisconsin.
Right.
To me, like, Sayin, to me, Arch and Sayin looked kind of on the same level in a way.
Totally fair.
I don't think that Sayin had as much pressure put on him because the Ohio State defense was so aggressive and was ready to just knock heads around. Mm-hmm. But, when you play a Penn State team later on this year, when you play, I believe, Oregon at some point.
Think so.
I need to double check because I forgot that I can't just name teams in the Big Ten and expect them to play them at this point.
Yeah, because there's 27 of them.
Well, and I'll actually even say this. Illinois is coming up. Penn State is playing. They'll play Penn State. And even Michigan right now. I would be concerned about if you can't make the offense move against those teams. What does that mean when you get into the playoffs and things like that?
With Sayin, I had way lower expectations of him mm-hmm. because Arch, obviously the media has pushed it a lot more, but Arch was also very clearly going to be the guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Ohio State didn't really know for sure who was going to be the guy until 7 days ago.
Yeah, week ahead type thing.
Right. So with Sayin, I think there was more time built in for the growing pains. We also know Ryan Day can assemble a roster that does not require much of the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Texas feels like they have been built around Arch, and then the rest has become supplementary. Mm-hmm. Whereas Sayin himself is the supplementary piece. So that was my big why I feel so much better about Ohio State, because they've already proven that they can take down a real tough team with bad QB play.
Mm-hmm. And that he will only improve as the year goes along.
Exactly.
It's getting thrown into the fire. Now you have Grambling and Ohio next, though. Mm-hmm. As the next game, I think those will be two good games to really get your feet wet and be ready for Big Ten play. I'm not too concerned about Ohio State if they ended up 10-2 with a loss to Penn State and maybe Illinois or Michigan. I wouldn't be that surprised. I could also see them going 12-0. I could see them going 11-1. I think it's honestly going to take until we get into that Big Ten play from here mm-hmm. to see what develops in these lighter weeks where you can kind of let Sayin test the waters a little bit more, kind of limit test what he can really accomplish.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The next, so we both agree Louisville and Ohio State favorites.
Yeah, comfortably
this week. Next game is Miami and Rutgers. And
weird one.
It was a game that we talked about early on where we were That could easily be a Miami win.
Mm-hmm.
Could also be a Rutgers win.
Yes.
I am much more worried about Miami after this game against Wisconsin than I was going into the season.
Yeah, I would agree. And especially because, like, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure what Rutgers did last week. I don't know who they played. I don't know how great they looked.
Rutgers played a MAC school, I want to say. Yeah, they played Ohio, 31-34. Rutgers win.
So that don't make me feel great either. Because I did watch Wisconsin Miami, yes. And that was an ugly, ugly, ugly game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know that I think Rutgers is going to be worse than Wisconsin, or how similar they'll be. But
I think the thing is that I don't think Rutgers, I think Wisconsin is trying to shift back to that. They tried to go with the air raid offense with Fickle's first years and things like that. I think that now they are trying to get back to that bread and butter, quite literally, like, feed these guys bread and butter, make them big, yes. Run them at them, we overpower
ground and
them.
Pound, yeah, like almost that old school SEC type
exactly.
type of offense.
It's what worked for Wisconsin for like decades.
Yeah.
To me, that it's an easier defense against Rutgers in a way. DeQuan Finn, quarterback for Miami, went 9-18, 83 yards, 2 interceptions, and there was 117 total yards.
Mm-hmm.
So 34 rushing yards from that. It's not what you want. I'm really worried about the run game continuing to be outmatched by bigger teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a good chance that makes Miami go, we need to just open up the pass game more, let him air it out a little bit more. But if you're already getting 2 interceptions, I don't know if that's the best answer.
Right. But he's still the guy that you tried to build this team around. Like, you can't give up on it after 1 week.
No, absolutely. And you have a year with him. It's you just play it out and work from there. I do think Ohio and Toledo look like the stronger MAC teams. Mm-hmm. But Miami is in that third spot. Yeah. I would still put them over Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Buffalo, things like that.
Well, and they were still going up against, like, a Power 4 school that does draw good recruits. Like, ultimately, like, talent is talent.
Absolutely.
And, like, DeQuan Finn had his issues in the Power 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a surprise. It's what he was able to achieve against a group of 5 teams that was so enticing to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, doesn't really scare me, I don't guess, like, once you get into conference play. But I think that at the beginning of the season, I sat here and I told you that I think Rutgers is a win for Miami. Wisconsin is a loss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with it.
Okay.
And if they burn me, they burn me.
Okay.
So I'm taking Miami on this one.
I am going to take Rutgers on this one.
Totally fair.
And it's only because as good of a coach as Chuck Martin is, I don't know if he can turn around an offense that is held that low. And it's not necessarily like it's a schematic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about it being in their heads and needing to get this to kind of just let it fly, and maybe that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But once they are testing those waters more, week 3 is where they can come back, and I believe it's UNLV, and I feel much more confident going into coming out of UNLV with a win than I do coming out of New Jersey.
Totally fair. I think that if it is a mental thing, I feel like Wisconsin provides more mental issues than Rutgers does.
Sure.
Because, like, I almost think that Rutgers doesn't get the credit they deserve.
And I don't think it's necessarily that they're looking at Rutgers and going, well, we lost to Wisconsin. I think we should not have been held to no points against Wisconsin type thing. But so that's where we'll split. That's great.
We have a difference.
As we always try to find some place to pick differently. The next game, Cincinnati playing a MAC school.
Mm-hmm.
They are hosting Bowling Green Saturday at 3:30. Lost 20-17 to Nebraska. I think that game was actually closer than I expected.
Yeah.
Counting back 12 games, so into last year, which is the Pitt game,
mm-hmm.
they have 5 one-score losses and 1 one-score win. So half of these games that Cincinnati has been playing are being
are 1 scores.
Ones within 1 scores, and majority are not going well.
Yes,
type thing.
The game of inches is not a game that UC likes to play.
Yes, I I said this to you beforehand. I don't know what the game plan was in a way with Brendan Sorsby for this game, because it felt like either he was being told not to try for deep throws or just wasn't feeling confident enough to try them until that play that ultimately closed the game.
The more I think about it, the more I think that it was probably Satterfield being like, look, we need to win time of possession, and we need to just slowly pick Nebraska apart because they are going to out-talent us. They're going to have faster guys. They're going to have stronger guys. They're going to have bigger guys. So take the little chunks that you can, wear them down, and then maybe you pull one over top. They'd never really found the rhythm taking that short game to where they felt comfortable taking the roof off of it.
Yes.
That was kind of my draw.
Well, because it felt like just every play was, or every throw, Sorsby only finished with 69 passing yards.
Yeah.
Off 13 attempts. So that's an average of 2.8. His longest was 14 yards.
Right.
And to me, like, that 10 to 15 yard range was where he was doing really well last year. And I just don't understand where the decision to not go with that came. He ended up carrying for 96 yards.
Right.
He had almost 30. He had 27 yards more rushing than passing. For a guy that we have loved watching throw the ball
for the
last year.
I don't know if I said it on the podcast or not, but I actively called Sorsby the quarterback that I'd want in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, you did.
And I still do stand by that. Like, I think that he probably just went up against a team that I continuously said last week is going to be good. Like, yes. I think Nebraska is a 9 or 10 win school this year. Like, but still, you have to look better than that.
Yes, and that's my thing. Where it's, you can get through Bowling Green State, you can get through Northwestern State. I'm concerned about the Big 12 schedule then.
Yeah,
I think they start with Kansas,
which is totally winnable.
Which is a winnable game. Let me double check that I am getting the right order of operations. Yeah, Kansas, Iowa State, UCF. Like Iowa State, I don't think they beat this year. That's when I was looking back at last year. They beat Arizona State.
They did
by 10 points.
Yeah,
and then they went on
but that was early, wasn't it? Because Kenny Dillingham caught fire near the end.
It was the third
conference game.
Third conference game.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like that last
it was
month
like their
and a half,
seventh week.
That last month and a half was electric for Arizona State.
Yeah, and after that win, it went downhill where they lost to Colorado, West Virginia, Iowa State, Kansas State, and TCU. And because they were 5-2 coming out of Arizona State, and then ended up 5-7.
Right. Full meltdown.
But yeah, it's Kansas, Iowa State, UCF, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Utah, Arizona, BYU, TCU, and I don't necessarily want to pick apart that right now because that's like, to me, it's Iowa State, Utah feels like losses. BYU likely.
I'm also not gonna get too overzealous on Iowa State just because to travel all the way to Scotland, there is a certain amount of gas that gets taken out of the tank. And so I want to see them on, American soil again before I really jump the gun with them, because we've done this song and dance with Matt Campbell. I'm kind of we know how this routine goes. So, but yeah, right now I would concur that I'm scared or at least concerned about how this Big 12 schedule shakes out for them.
Yes. So let's go ahead and make a pick for Bowling Green then.
I'm going to still take UC.
I'm still taking UC as well.
Feels like a get-right game.
As much as I like Pudge, the mascot for the Bowling Green locker room, I do think the Bearcats will still be able to take a win.
Yeah.
So
again, get-right game. Straighten some stuff out, and then hopefully carry some momentum into the Big 12.
And for our last game, I'm going to look right into the camera for this one. Kentucky Wildcats, I am sorry. I doubted you. I wasn't familiar with your game.
It was still Toledo. Let's not get too carried away.
No, but I mean, if you told me that Kentucky scored 24 points
on Jason Candle's
on a first
Rockets
on Toledo, yeah, I would have been like, that's actually kind of. You could have told me they won, and I would have been like, it was a weird barn burner game, 14. It would have been Ohio State, Texas. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I will say this. I think we were right about the quarterback play.
Yep.
Zach Calzada went 10 for 23, 85 yards. I don't think that's going to get better against Ole Miss.
Nope.
This
week. But we know how this game goes for Kentucky and Ole Miss. Last year, it was a real weird one.
Yes, it was.
And the Cats won.
There's always weird games.
There are.
Kentucky and
the SEC was just the hub for weird games last year.
The SEC was just weird last year.
Yeah, and looks like it's going to do that again.
Probably.
It's going to. Yeah. What a strange world we live in.
Hey, we love it. It's what makes college football so great.
It is. I never in a million years thought I'd see a bad Alabama school.
Are they bad?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm putting my foot down on that.
All right.
Bookmark it.
I'm clipping that and I'm putting that directly on social media.
Please, bulletin board material. Use it, Kalen DeBoer.
But yeah, I did like Dante Dowdle, Seth McGowan, solid backfield, covered.
Yeah,
what they needed.
It's a running school.
I do also think that the defense was solid from Kentucky, which was what I was kind of interested in seeing. So I think if they're going to win, it's going to be games of attrition, where the defense is doing way more and then the offense, gets a couple scores in and pulls it out type thing.
Yeah.
I will say that Stoops said that he does not plan on taking Calzada out. That was addressed. Cutter Bully is a potential replacement if he changes on things. I know you love his name.
Love that name
as a Kentucky quarterback.
Cutter Bully is an SEC quarterback.
Yeah,
I have never seen him play, but just in name.
But it's weird that it's a. I know you're like, it's such a Kentucky quarterback name.
It is,
and to me, I'm like, that's like a Mississippi, Alabama.
Okay, but like
name.
But Goose Crowder is more of a because he's down at ULM. Goose Crowder is Mississippi to me. Cutter Bully is Kentucky.
Georgia.
Georgia?
No, I think it's a Georgia name too.
Yeah, because I always thought Stetson Bennett was a little bit more of a Tennessee name.
Yeah. No, I actually kind of agree with you on that one. Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know what we're doing now, but either way,
we're talking names.
Calzada, we had our questions and we had our doubts,
and I still have doubts and I still have questions.
I have more of them now.
Yeah.
Because, Toledo is about as easy as it gets on their schedule. Not to call Toledo easy, but it's about as easy as you're going to find.
Yes.
Because they have the Louisville game as another non-con, and then who's the third one? Or I guess we have two more. But
hold on.
It should be probably like EKU or something weird.
No, it is Eastern Michigan.
So that's easier than Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it is at best the third easiest game on your schedule.
It's probably third because you have Eastern Michigan, you have Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
And then there's the Vandy question, the Auburn question.
But Vandy and Auburn are at least matching you star-wise.
Yeah.
So it's and it's conference play, which inherently becomes more difficult.
Yes. And also, I know you don't love Pavia. I think Vandy's still a good, solid team right now.
I agree. And I think Auburn might be. They're weird, I don't know how to feel about them. Regardless, I do know that while Ole Miss is almost looks nothing like what they were last year, I feel a lot better about their transitional period and being able to flip around under Lane Kiffin than I do Kentucky with Zach Calzada under center.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And that's why I will say it's probably going to be an Ole Miss win.
Taking the Rebels.
And so that is your lineup of local games. Again, we'll cover it. It's Louisville versus James Madison Friday at 7 p.m., Ohio State versus Grambling Saturday at 3:30, Miami versus Rutgers Saturday at 3:30, Cincinnati versus Bowling Green Saturday at 3:30, and Kentucky versus number 20 Ole Miss Saturday at 3:30. And I'll say number 1 Ohio State I did miss.
Yes. Also, so if you want to watch a Tri-State team, you better pick one.
Yeah.
Because they're all at the same time.
You can quad box like I do.
What, on YouTube TV?
Yeah.
I see. I don't have
and I do it on my computer, and I drag them out, and I make the box in my monitor.
Oh, that's smart.
It's my favorite thing to do.
That's smart. Never thought about that.
And I will add on that there are 2 games you can watch right here on Fox 19. Iowa is at Iowa State at noon.
Beautiful.
Which, that's actually a game I always do enjoy as a rivalry.
The Cyhawk.
And then Delaware at Colorado at 3:30.
Fun.
If you want to see what Deion Sanders is doing without Travis Hunter and Shooter.
I like Kadon Salter a lot.
Yeah,
their quarterback. I liked him at Liberty quite a bit.
I did not pay attention to Colorado this week.
They lost. I know that.
Yeah,
but I haven't really looked at it either. I just know that Salter was like on my top 5 quarterback transfer options this year, and ended up at Colorado. So I was like, oh, that's more power to him.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to give a shout out as well as I'm in the process of apologizing to Kentucky. I do want to give another Kentucky team their props. The women's volleyball team, honestly, impressed me. They played at the Broadway Block Party in Nashville, which is the first time that they've been doing an event like that. It was an SEC Big Ten crossover. Kentucky is number 7 in the AVCA right now. And they took Nebraska, number 1 team in the country, and historically a number 1 team in the country, to 5 sets. And when I told you I was watching it at Red Robin up in Westchester, because I came in and I was like, I need a TV, and I was like, hey, can you put it on? Could you put the game on, please? And they're like, yeah, you're the only person that wants this. And I was like, cool, thank you.
It's like, awesome. That's fine. And like everybody watched.
First 2 sets, Kentucky came out crushed. I think that Brooklyn DeLay and Eva Hudson are one of the nastiest, in a good way, outside duos in the country right now. And they're against Nebraska, who has incredible outside hitters as well.
Right. I just absurd talent on both sides of the net there.
Yes. And it kind of spoke to Nebraska and their ability to adapt to Kentucky, that they were able to pull out the win, because I think if they did not make the changes that they ended up doing in the 3rd and 4th and 5th with their libero options, things like that, I do think Kentucky could have easily won that match and come away as probably the number 1 team in the country then after that. So if you have any interest in volleyball this year, Louisville is also doing very well. They just didn't play Nebraska, so I wasn't like, Louisville. Right. Kentucky is playing out of their minds right now, and those games are going to be on TV, and you're going to be able to see more games on TV because you are getting bigger viewership numbers. And I know that last year's finals set records and things like that. Yeah. So it's great for the sport. I love seeing it. I love seeing it grow and be able to get in front of more eyes, because it is such an exciting sport. And I just recommend you go and watch it. And UC is also playing Xavier, NKU, Miami. Miami, as this is coming out, will have just played Ohio State at home. Right. There's a lot of great games that you can catch locally without having to go to Louisville or Lexington, but you also have 2 of the best teams in the country at like a top 10 level
within less than 2 hours.
An hour drive, yeah,
right?
Hour and a half. So,
yeah,
just wanted to give them their flowers and mention that as well.
And we'll continue checking in on that throughout the year.
Oh, well. Absolutely.
That's I know that's a big point for you especially.
Yes.
That you want to make sure to be able to get that spotlight on that.
Absolutely. So, but let's move over to high school football now, because we've got some exciting games coming up this week, and you're Kentucky biased this week.
Yeah, I am actually. So they had a really great schedule, and I'm really excited to see how this is all going to line out.
Absolutely.
We do also want to mention Lakota East and Mason was the first team off of this. Okay. I think that's going to be a really fun game. And then I don't remember who Lakota West is playing, but I also considered putting that on there because Lakota West really impressed me last week, and that ended up actually being the game that I talked about on Final Quarter. So Hamilton, yes, Big Blue. That'll be a fun one. So those 2 GMCs ended up removing them from the equation, but we do still have a little GMC representation because it is the game of the week.
Game of the week.
In total synchronization. Now, Brad, I want to tell you.
You want to tell me?
The receivers.
Yes.
On both Middletown and Oak Hills are absurd.
Okay.
First off, before I even talk specifically about either one of these teams, let me tell you a little story about Aaron McFarland.
Okay.
I was at Oak Hills East last week. Aaron McFarland got the play of the night whenever he essentially jumped over a defensive back and then landed on his, he was upside down when he made this reception.
Yeah.
He then stands up, finds my camera. You guys are my camera now. Walks me down and says, "I'm really like that," into the lens. Yeah, he walked me down.
Yeah.
And got loud. Story time, was very much supposed to be and was a candidate for top 19 on 19.
Yes.
Little bit of whatever. I don't do that list. Not my responsibility. Know that there was some conflicts.
Sure.
Proved exactly why. With that one catch. And he has a running mate this year that I think is probably the best 1-2 punch in terms of receivers in the Tri-State.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the Highlanders. They are 1-1.
Okay.
Very close games to start this year. 21-20 against Edgewood, won that game, then lost East 14-7.
Okay.
The defense caused chaos against Ryder Hooks. That game was supposed to be my package, the one that I talked about on FQ, because Ryder Hooks was 100 yards away from having East's all-time rushing record. He got plugged to 30.
Wow.
Yeah, 38 total rushing yards.
Yeah.
I got there at the second half, asked some guys on the sideline. They were like, "He's not close right now." Just because, obviously, not being there, you don't really have that live coverage. And they plugged him and kept the chaos rolling. Their offense also had more yards than East last week.
Okay.
So while they lost 14-7, it was just not being able to cross the finish line. They did put themselves in good positions multiple times.
Okay.
Especially in the times that I was there. Lincoln Schreiber is the quarterback in charge of getting it to the two receivers that I'm about to talk about. 376 yards in 2 weeks, little over 50% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, rushing touchdown as well. Not setting the world on fire. But when you have guys like Aaron McFarland and like Cordell Ball, I know you're doing the mental math on that the share of yardage.
Yeah.
It's insane. So like I said, Lincoln Schreiber has 367 yards. Aaron McFarland has 130 of those. Cordell Ball has another 171 of them.
Yeah.
Aaron McFarland, 15 receptions, 130, long of 25. Cordell Ball, 12 receptions, 171 yards, a touchdown, long of 80 yards. Absolute units.
They are 82% of the offense.
Of the passing
yards.
Yeah. They are so scary. And obviously.
Well, not long of 82.
Yeah.
It's just such a
nasty. But you take that out and it's still 11 receptions for 90. So it's he's still chunk playing.
Yeah.
It's just such an absurdly talented duo that getting to see them this early in the year was very exciting to me. Both of them are in the top 5, I believe, for the GMC's receiving yards, but their quarterback's 5th in pass yards.
Yeah.
So to have 2 receivers in that, it's just such an absurd layout to me. Also, shout out Michael Branch before we talk about the middies. 3 sacks, forced fumbles, 5 tackles for loss in 2 games. Count me in. Guy we talked about at the beginning of the year, kind of building into the season. I believe he was one of those that I don't even think we talked about Oak Hills. I think I was just we need to talk about Michael Branch, though. Mm-hmm. That was why.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because I think he had 18 sacks or something last year. He was absurd. So he's still doing his thing. Now let's talk a little bit about the middies.
Okay.
They are 2-0 with a win over Troy, 28-20. Fairfield, 19-2.
Okay.
Safety, sure, why not? Allowed 151 total yards against Fairfield last week. Want to talk about their quarterback, Joseph Ward, having a perfect game against Troy. 16 for 16. 238 passing, a touchdown. Then you add 126 rushing, 17 attempts, 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
Okay.
Beast.
Yeah.
Does it both ways. Dimitri and James, the running back, 127 yards, 16 attempts. That's 7.9 yards per carry and a touchdown. Ace Cooper, I don't think we got to talk about him, but he was absolutely one of the most notable transfers this year. Mm-hmm. He was a Mount Healthy standout, decided to move to Middletown, 10 catches, 157 yards this year, 44% of the team's receiving yards.
Okay.
And then a couple of notable, Braylon Bryant, J.D. Singletary, very, very impressive dudes on their defense. The big things I want to highlight here, Oak Hills plays nasty good way.
Yes.
They are a very tough team. And that's the whole reason they could shut down Rider Hooks the way they did, was just because they are vicious.
Is it a good way to call them raw in a way?
Yes. Okay. They are very just unleashed. They'll get some penalties. Mm-hmm. They will. Like, that's because, when you play like that, you're going to draw it.
You're playing aggressive.
Yeah. Yes. And it's a very passionate, it's a very guttural way of playing football. That inspires me a lot for how their season's going to go. But I think Middletown has played a lot cleaner football, has kept things a lot simpler. Their defense does things efficiently, as we saw against Fairfield. So I'm going to go out and say, hardest game to predict. Would you like me to go first? Or do you want to take the
let me take the wheel here, because the thing about that you just mentioned with it being like a raw game is that you can definitely throw off a team who is used to a more set based play style.
Routine almost. Yeah.
And that's why I would say I would not be surprised if Oak Hills pulls it off, but I will pick Middletown.
Okay. That's fair. I'm leaning Oak Hills.
Okay.
Nice. We get to split early. I like that.
Yeah.
There's something about what I saw with the Highlanders on Friday night that has left the impression on me that they are a team that I need to keep track of throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Middletown, haven't had the pleasure of seeing yet, but from what I understand about their season so far, I think they're going to be a good team. I don't know what the ceiling is, and while I don't know what Oak Hill's ceiling is either, that is more of a positive in my mind, whereas Middletown is more of like I trust them to win 7.
Yeah.
And I think Oak Hills could have a little bit more firepower to kind of just take the roof off of it, because you do have 2 legitimate college-level athletes on the outside. So that's where I'm at.
Absolutely.
So going with Highlanders, you went Middies. Let's talk Campbell County and Highlands. Moving into Kentucky, because like you said, that bias is in full effect this week.
Yes.
Love the coach connection here.
Okay.
Very interested on how this all plays out. So to give you a little history lesson, Brian Weinrich was with Highlands for like 20 years as like an assistant coach, moved up to be their head coach, was 51-36 as their head coach, won a state title in 2014, left in 2019 maybe, went to Newport for a season or 2, then ended up at Campbell County.
Okay.
Has been there for, I believe this is year 3.
Okay.
The man who replaced him at Highlands is still there, and who he'll be up against this week, Bob's Fire. He is a Lexington Catholic legend, has over 300 career wins, moved to Highlands to take over that job whenever Weinrich left. Mm-hmm. Has been very, very good, 39-14 since he took over. Let's first start with Highlands, because that was, that's the connective tissue with all this. Right now they're 2-0. They won against Frederick Douglass 21-20 in a double overtime game. Love the grittiness for that. Just to stick it out, and then beat Cooper 28-14, which Cooper's a team we've talked about, and we will talk about again here in a few minutes.
Yes.
Bob obviously took over this team, and he's got a couple of really impressive guys. Ryle Littmer, their quarterback, over 300 pass yards, almost 70% completion rate, 2 touchdowns and an interception right now. The hefty lefty's son, Taden Lorenzen, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running back, weapon, is what I wrote him down for here. He was 1 for 2 with 6 pass yards right now, but really 33 rushes, 137 yards, 5 touchdowns, plus 20 yards receiving. You put him anywhere, you put him everywhere. Kid's gonna ball. And then, and then Kel Harris, 12 catches, 121 yards, a touchdown. The offense is what I like about Highlands. Not making any reason to hide that.
Sure.
Campbell County, as they've started to figure it out, they're not traditionally a super good team, just to be perfectly honest. Last season, they went, I think they had 2 wins, maybe 3 wins. Their last over 500 season was 2018.
I know it was a low amount because they were one of the first teams we talked about in the playoffs for Kentucky, because I remember going, oh, Camels, that's a cool mascot. And I want to say they were playing like a Cooper or
like
even
top.
Ryle. It was one of the top teams, and we were like, yeah, it's going to be tough for them to do anything here.
Right. Welcome to week 1 in Ohio or Kentucky State football.
Exactly.
So they have struggled, but 2-0, great start for them.
Solid start.
Yeah, want to see how this continues. And really the big power and the most impressive player to me has been Aiden Earls, the receiver.
Okay.
9 catches, 155 yards, 4 touchdowns, which is more touchdowns than their starting quarterback has thrown.
Okay.
Also more yards than their starting quarterback has thrown. Their starting quarterback, Lucas Anthrop, 13 for 21, 141 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then 50 rush yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
It's just he is the guy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if your receiver is the primary guy, and I know I just went on this big spiel about how I love Oak Hills receivers and whatever, but at a certain point, they will just double them up and make it as hard as humanly possible on you. Aiden Earls is the shining star, but it does concern me about the Campbells.
Yeah.
So, I say all that to say, I really do think this is going to be an interesting one. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion for Brian Weinrich to try to power his guys over his old squad. Mm-hmm. I am still going to take his old squad, though. I've got Bluebirds here.
I would also go with the Bluebirds here. And just looking at Littmer's numbers, I'm like, that's a really solid quarterback. And after beating Cooper as well as they did, because I filled in for Saturday morning, and I was sitting here. I came into the station and was sitting there as our coworker Austin Brisky was leaving, and I was like, "Hey man, what happened there?" And he's like, "The Highlands just beat them. Like they ran them down." Yeah. I was like, "Okay,
that's just their thing." And I think Taylor Lorenzen is the best player on either side of this game.
Okay,
he is. He every time, and I say every time, we've had 2 FQs so far. Both of those weeks, I've left being like, man, Taylor Lorenzen still looks really good.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was the top play of the week 1. Because last week it was obviously Aaron McFarland doing his thing. And I believe it was in that overtime, the game icing touchdown against Frederick Douglass that was the play of the night. Yeah. So, regardless, a guy that we're going to continue talking about. And is building a lot of steam behind him.
Yeah.
To round us out, we teased this.
It's Cooper, a team we've talked about a lot.
And a team that's like starting to really scare me, Brad. Mm-hmm. Cooper, the Jaguars, a team that I've shown a lot of intrigue in, and obviously Cam O'Hara, a quarterback, number 2 on the top 19, a Western Kentucky commit. It has been a real weird start of the year.
Yes.
He's going up against Ryle, so he's going to need to figure it out. Let's just dive right into the Jags. They're 0-2 right now. Lost to Anderson 52-10. Lost to Highlands 28-14, like we just mentioned. The big thing that you'll notice is different. Isaiah Johnson, Jaden Combs, Austin Alexander all graduated, accounted for 2,900 or over 2,900 yards, 46 touchdowns in the passing game last year.
Yes.
Cooper has not figured out who they replaced them with. Mm-hmm. And it's visible. They had 1 loss all last year. They've doubled that number now, obviously. Cam O'Hara, we mentioned him, 9 for 32, 119 pass yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interception. That's in 2 games this year.
Yeah.
Something's off.
And it's even the interception number that throws me off too, where I go, oh, you're putting the ball in a bad spot to get intercepted, or is it and it could be something where he's trying to work with what his wide receivers give him, and that's not necessarily the cleanest openings and things like that. But I'll jump down to Riker Campbell, one of the wide receivers, has 4 catches for 92 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm assuming that's the best stat line for a wide receiver.
Riker was also the only one returning from last year that was like, trust that.
Yeah.
And he's proving it, and he's proving why. But, yeah, it's just still so disjointed, especially when the running game is still drawing really good numbers. Keegan Maher, 42 attempts, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Has been the reason the offense keeps moving right now.
I think the only issue, though, is if you're using the run game too much, you're not keeping as much time on the clock, gives you less opportunities to try and take advantage of things in the long run of the night.
Exactly. And, Highlands defense is not something I'm just super bought into. Mm-hmm. So to be held to 14, I understand that you're still trying to work through some stuff, but there is something inherently wonky to me about that, where it's like, to have Keegan Maher and Cam O'Hara running that backfield only put up 14, are we snake bit? What's happening here? you can compare that to a team in the Ryle Raiders who have been a unit since they were like 12 years old.
Yeah.
What is becoming our Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw played high school together, or were in high school together stat. The Ryle Raiders, core group of seniors on this team, 3rd grade to 8th grade, didn't lose a game.
Yep.
Love that stat. Heard it randomly one Friday night whenever I was out there covering them. Will continue to repeat it until these kids graduate. They are 2-0 currently. They beat Covcath 26-20, beat Connor 44-0. And it's the same characters you already know because we have talked about Ryle a few times. And, you know, the kids that are stars just continue to be stars. Nathan Virak, 17 for 35, 235 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Jacob Savage, top 19 list guy, 55 yards on 23 touches and 4 touchdowns. Also fantastic on defense as a linebacker. Kai Workman, 16 tackles, 2 tackles for loss and an interception. Dylan Lee, 3 picks, 2 games. What you know about him. If you would have sat me down at the beginning of the year and told me, without looking at the schedule, obviously, because like I still would have taken them to, had we put Cooper and Highlands on last week's predictions, would have taken Cooper.
Yeah.
Full transparency. Had you sat me down and said, you are going to now predict Cooper to go 0-2 in the 2 games you predict, but they would be 0-3 to start the season, I would have called you crazy. I have no choice but to take Ryle here. Because what else have we been given?
Yeah, I mean, it just excuse me. It does look to me like it's just set up for Ryle to kind of, you know, take an advantage and maybe end up being the top Kentucky team this year.
I think so. Like, as we're tracking right now, I would say that Ryle is the team to beat.
Yeah.
It's them or Highlands. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point with Highlands. Again, as we just talk about them and then act like I don't remember them.
But still, I would still argue that because like Highlands wasn't this last year.
No,
Ryle was.
Yes,
Ryle was just a little bit of seasoning off. So like I do think that where your mind was right.
Yeah, you. I feel like we talked about them at some point where it was like it's just a steak. It needs to age. Another 6 months,
literally,
and then it's going to be perfect. And you put it on the grill, and you hear that sear, and it's going to be excellent.
Yep, it's that bottle of wine that you forgot about, you know. But nobody ever forgot about Ryle. They just kept getting better.
Yeah, you said okay, I cannot touch that for another year.
Bingo.
Yeah, I as you said to me this week, Ryle is kind of like in your head my team.
Yes, because I know how much you love that stat that they've all been together for so long.
But I also I like the way that they play from what I've seen with the highlights and things like that. And yeah, it kind of makes me feel a little bit where I think even coming into this week, say Cooper had been 2-0. Say 1-1 because I think the Anderson one was like kind of a game where I was like, okay, yeah, I probably should have picked Anderson in the long run. I was underestimating them.
Fair.
But to me, Cooper losing to Highlands says a lot more now compared to last year. But I still probably would have picked Ryle this year.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like had we sat down at the beginning whenever I was doing all these, teams know whatever, and I'd been like, who is your prediction to be the best team in Kentucky? I think that you probably say Ryle. I might have said Highlands, or I might have said Cooper.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing we didn't do those because I like my record being good.
It's a good thing we didn't come out here and put ourselves on blast.
Exactly. Also worth mentioning, this is the game I'll be at this weekend, or Friday, if you qualify that as the weekend. It'll be the one that I'll do the package on, talk about on air. Very excited for it. Hoping to see a fantastic game and think that we're fully capable of it. I just can't. And like, I don't want what I've said on here to be like, I think Cooper's going to suck. I think that they probably are still a 7-3 team. I just think they start 0-3.
That's fair. Yeah.
and if they are 6-4 because they've got, a Covcath or whatever on the schedule, because I don't have it right here in front of me, then so be it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Miami, where I when we've been talking about Miami, it's kind of like, okay, well, Wisconsin probably lost, maybe a loss with Rutgers now. They could still end up 10-2.
Yeah.
End up 9-3.
Big deal, right? Like
somewhere in there.
Yeah, you caught steam, you figured it out. So all right, we only split on one.
Yes,
but that's fine. Because that game's also going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Your record will still be better than mine no matter what at the end of this.
Well, we would have had to split on all of them, right? For that to...
we could have split on 2, and I get all of them right, and
me get the other tied. 2 wrong. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, because 6 and 1, 4 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's all we got this week, right?
That is all we have this week.
Beautiful.
If you can send it out while I cough.
Yeah, of course. So we have some news that we are going to hold off on, but hopefully you will be hearing an announcement from us later this week. Until then, you should find us on YouTube. You should find us on the Fox 19 app. You should find us on the wherever you get your streams. And if you've already listened to all of our stuff and you're like, I need more Fox 19 Now content, I've got good news for you. We've got the Gold Standard with Jody and Charlie Goldsmith. We've got Gabby Sorrentino's setup, Offsides with Gabby. That comes out every
Monday morning.
Every Monday morning. Joe comes out, or Gold Standard comes out every Friday. We come out every Thursday. We're just churning out content. Bengals Now is back. It would have been today that we're recording, but it's every Wednesday at Newport on the Levee at 6 p.m. So many things, so many good things. Final quarter Friday nights, big noon kickoff Saturday at noon. Just plug everything, man. This is the first time I've gotten to do this.
And Bengals pre-show.
Yep, Bengals pre-shows are churning out. But yeah, that's all we've got for now.
We'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely. Have a good one.